All right, yesterday, this is a story you may have gotten past you, but friends, you've got to hear this. Yesterday, the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that a Seattle area church must continue offering abortion coverage in its employee health plans. The Cedar Park Assembly of God of Kirkland argued that a Washington state law violated his First Amendment right to religious freedom. But catch this. The court ruled that the church didn't even have proper standing to launch a lawsuit. How in the world could this be? And how will this ruling affect the fight against abortion and our constitutional guarantee of religious freedom? What comes next in all of this? Well, here to discuss these questions is Kevin Theriot. He's a senior counsel for Alliance Defending Freedom. He's a key member of the Center for Life team that's working to defend pro-life speech and protect medical rights of conscience. Kevin, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thanks, Jody. It's good to be back.
Wow. This is such a disturbing case. All right, I look at this, the headlines over and over and over, and just shake my head in virtual disbelief. So this all goes back to a 2018 law in Washington state. So Kevin, why don't you begin, just kind of bring us up to speed. What does this particular law say?
So Washington passed a law, as you said, back in 2018 that requires churches to cover abortion in their healthcare benefits plans for employees if they cover maternity. And of course, most people would agree that no one should have to be forced to pay for abortions, much less a church. But that's exactly what this law does. If they have a health insurance plan, a group health insurance plan like they had before the law went into effect that excluded abortion, they can no longer have that plan under this new law.
All right. So how? I mean, obviously a church, a biblically focused church, does not believe in this. So how in the world does the court say that the Cedar Park Church lacked standing in this case?
Well, that's a great question. It's difficult to understand, but they went through some, jumped through some and did some back bends basically in order to avoid some Ninth Circuit law that is governing. We represented some churches, Skyline Church being one of them in California, that challenged a similar law there. And the court not only said that it violated the church's rights, but clearly that they had standing to challenge the law. And so, and this court, the Ninth Circuit in this case, previously said that this law actually affects the church's rights, which anybody just looking at the law could understand. So unfortunately, the court ignored some binding precedent and in the Ninth Circuit and at the Supreme Court to come to this conclusion.
Okay, so let's go down that. So this decision reverses course, changes course at least on previous court precedents. So what were some of the details on this particular ruling from the Ninth Circuit? How did they depart from previous ruling?
Well, what they said was that this is no different than a employee getting their paycheck and going out and buying something with their paycheck from the church that would violate the church's convictions, like if the church teaches against alcohol, if they went out and bought alcohol. But of course, that's ridiculous. The law is actually requiring the church to participate in the process by buying the plan that facilitates their abortion. So that would be more like the church, the state requiring the church to give them a bottle of whiskey. That's really what's going on. The court just got the facts wrong and construed the law in a way that is contrary to what the Supreme Court and what the Ninth Circuit has said, and that is that churches can't be forced to fund abortion.
So what kind of impact does this have potentially on religious freedom, on conscientious objectors to abortion? What does this mean long term?
Well, hopefully, long term, we'll be able to get this overturned. We plan on asking the full panel of the Ninth Circuit to rehear the case and abide by the original rulings that the Ninth Circuit had in this case and in similar cases. But I think long term, the Supreme Court's going to have to take this up if the Ninth Circuit doesn't fix it, and we're obviously hopeful that it will. But if it doesn't and this stands, then not only churches, but any organization that doesn't want to facilitate and help its employees get something that violates their convictions, like even, for instance, a animal rights group couldn't be forced under the First Amendment to buy hunting licenses for their employees. But that right and that freedom is under threat if this case stands.
I know Kristen Wagner, the president, CEO, and general counsel there at ADF, said that ADF is going to be exploring all legal options on behalf of Cedar Park. What does that mean? I mean, what's the most likely course of action, do you think, that ADF will take, if you're able to share that?
Well, sure. Yeah. The first course of action will likely be that we ask the full panel of the Ninth Circuit to rehear the case. And I think there's a good chance Judge Callahan wrote a very strong dissent that explains why the panel, the two judges that ruled against the church, were wrong. And we think that the full Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is likely to take this up and reverse course. And then, of course, if that doesn't happen, then we can ask the Supreme Court to intervene.
Have you heard any reaction from Cedar Park on this?
I have. I spoke to Pastor Jay Smith. Well, actually, I exchanged emails with him and let him know that we were disappointed in this result, but what the options were going forward. And obviously, he was disappointed too, but authorized us to seek rehearing en banc because he agrees that churches shouldn't be forced to pay for abortion, and we need to do everything we can to fight this law.
Thank you so much, ADF attorney Kevin Theriot. Incredible insights, and thank you and ADF for all the critical work you do in defending the unborn and defending our religious liberties. God bless you. Thank you for joining us on Washington Watch.